Good.
Yep, go ahead. Welcome to Locust Grove High School. Game 2 of the Quad A State Baseball Playoffs between Redan High School and Locust Grove High School. Game 1 went to Redan by a score of 10-1, and Locust Grove looks to fight back in Game 2 to take this to a third game. I'm Randy Lee along with Coach Chris Davis, who will handle your play-by-play. Coach, let's do a little bit of recap of Game 1.
Coach, it was Redan coming out and hitting the ball hard. Locust Grove simply not making the routine plays. They had 7 errors in Game 1, and that's all Redan needed. Good hitting team, got some extra help on the bases, and they put it away early. They were up 5-0 after 3, 8-0 by the middle of the game, and cruised to a victory. Locust Grove hit the ball fairly well for most of the game, just hit the ball right at them. Didn't cash in on some chances and got so far behind. I think they're hoping for a better show in Game 2.
Well, anytime you give a team extra outs, no matter what age group it is, if it's little league, high school, minor league, professional baseball, anytime you give good teams extra outs, they're going to make it hurt. And that proved to be the telltale sign for Locust Grove as they went down in defeat. Let's go. Redan Raiders are going to be your home team for today, and I'm going to go around the infield right here. Layton's going to be your catcher. Williams is going to be at third base. Major League Baseball prospect Wesley Jones is going to be your shortstop. Nelson's going to be at second base. Oolsby, who came in relief in Game 1, will be at first base. Dorsey's going to be in right field. Graves will be in center field, and Bakari Gale will be in left field. Layton will be behind the plate, and your pitcher this afternoon in Game 2 for Redan is Brandon Baker. Coach, this dominant left-handed arm right here, I believe he's the number 1 guy on the staff.
Coach, over the top, good fastball, sharp breaking curveball. Locust Grove saw a lefty in Game 1 in Dorsey, and couldn't put a lot of hits together, even though they hit the ball. So much of the same, a little more juice probably on the pitch. So we'll see how they do as we get started.
Okay, Coach, we're going to get started right here, and to lead off Game 2, the visiting team, Locust Grove Wildcats, is going to be number 20, Cortez McDowell, and I'm going to give it to Chris Davis, play-by-play.
Cortez leading off for Locust Grove. Cortez 2 for 4 in Game 1. Cortez swings at the first pitch and hits the ball towards the right center field gap. Cut off in center field by Graves, and the whole Cortez to a single. And Coach, 2 things right off the bat. And the first thing I want to notice is in the first 2 rounds, Cortez may have got a double eye that hit right there. Redan's fast enough in the outfield to cut it off and hold him to a single.
You're exactly right. He has, and that's going to show you right now. Redan's got a lot of speed in the outfield. They're going to be very solid defensively. And, yes, you're right. Cortez would have had a double in any other round.
Here's the pitch to Fellows, who takes the fastball for a strike.
Kind of unconventional there. I know Coach Phillips in the first game, down 3-0, when he got his leadoff man on in the first inning, decided to bunt and sacrifice. I thought sacrifice was coming right there. Got to get on the run. Got to get on the board early here. Locust Grove needs to.
Here's the 0-1. Instead, we'll go to first. Cortez is back.
Back easily, standing up, just trying to get an idea of his somewhat of a move. I don't think he saw his best move.
Baker comes set, delivers. Fellows bunts it down the first baseline. And it'll roll foul. Oldsby lets it go. Must have been just off the line. That's a foul ball.
Wow, that looked like a fair ball to me, but I think he called time. I think he called it foul.
And, Coach, I can tell you right now, fair ball or foul ball, the one thing when the umpire says foul ball, that's the one thing he can't take back. It's got to stay a foul ball. And it does stay a foul ball.
They got it right. The umpiring crew, I believe, is from Atlanta Area Umpires Association.
Marietta
Umpire Association, okay. And, yep, you're exactly right. That's exactly what they did. Once you call it a foul ball, it's a foul ball.
That's going to be a tough break, it looks like, for Locust Grove. But
I thought it was a good bunt. I thought it was on the line when he touched it, but there's nothing you can do about it now.
And I don't think it was the wrong play to let it go. But unfortunately, there's just nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, I think he panicked. First baseman kind of panicked when he got by him, and and went ahead and picked it up, but then still didn't have a play. But well, it's going to bring Fellows back to the plate. He's got 2 strikes on him.
Interesting to see what Redan might do here. They may do a little pitch out, see if they can catch Cortez. Instead, we're going to throw over the first. Cortez back easy.
One thing with Baker probably, Coach, I know he had he pitched 35 innings, had 52 strikeouts on the year, so he probably hadn't seen a whole lot of base runners. ERA under 1.
Slide step right there on the 0-2 pitch, and Cortez was off on the pitch. McDowell fought off a curveball.
According to the DeKalb newspaper, local newspaper, he's second in DeKalb County ERA-wise, as well as strikeouts per innings pitched. So I think if you can put a little pressure on him, maybe you might get a mistake out of him and see where it goes from there.
Baker getting a new ball. Umpires have to rub down the new balls. One thing to get away with in the regular season is pitchers grabbing the ball and putting some dirt on it, but it's the umpire's job to rub down the ball with dirt.
Beautiful night for baseball here in Locust Grove.
Baker gets his sign, comes set. High kick, fastball in the dirt. Cortez off on the pitch.
He's going to be in there.
He's going to be safe.
Got a good jump right there, Coach. You really did.
Good jump, and the ball was hit the grass and had a high hop. Cortez at second. Good pitch to go on. Ball in the dirt. Count 1-2 on Fellows.
Catcher did a nice job even to get it close. But now runner in scoring position for the Wildcats. They need to take advantage of it right here.
Fellows fouled off the 1-2 pitch back over to first base side. And Coach, to speak for a few minutes on Layton, we didn't mention his name a lot in game 1, but he really did a good job. That's why we didn't mention his name. He didn't have any pass balls. He didn't throw anybody out stealing, but seemed to call a good game behind the plate. Framed up a lot of pitches.
And from the looks of it, I haven't noticed him getting any signs from the first base dugout. So I think the game, they've put it in his hands. So I think coaches feel comfortable with him behind the plate, and I agree with you. I think, from what I saw of game 1, he did a good job handling the pitching staff.
Phillips gets back to the box. Still 1-2. Baker peeking in, getting his sign. McDowell on second base. Nobody out. Top of the first, game 2. Here's the pitch. Fastball stays up high, evens the count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Josh Fellows.
Just a little bit upstairs. Hand me that squirrel book right there. See, is there another pen up here?
Here's the 2-2. Fellows fights it off out of play. Good at bat by Josh Fellows right here.
Staying alive again.
Six pitches already, and Coach, if you can work the pitcher, make him get deep in the count and throw a lot of pitches, maybe get to the bullpen and Redan. That's one way to be the number 1 pitcher and get him out of the game.
Yep.
Here's the 2-2 once again.
Back upstairs.
Back upstairs makes the count 3-2 on Fellows.
Big hole over there between first and second, trying to keep Cortez close at second, using the second baseman as their person that's going to hold the runner on. And Fellows has fouled a bunch of balls off down the right side. Maybe he can get a base hit that way.
Here's the 3-2. Cortez heads for third.
And he's in there.
He's in there.
And ball 4.
Fellows will trot down to first, and Locust Grove quickly has runners at first and third with nobody out here in the top of the first. We'll get a courtesy runner for Fellows.
Looks like
number 1, Trey King.
Trey King's going to be your courtesy runner, so that means Fellows is going to be behind the plate in game 2. Table set for Tyler Sellers right here. Last week, Coach, I know in this situation, double down the line, good fastball hitter. has an opportunity right here to get the Wildcats on the board early.
Sellers 0 for 2 in game 1, 2 base on balls. Been hitting the ball really hard. Here's the pitch. Ball's outside. Makes the count 1-0.
Well, it looks like the bag call on the bunt down the first baseline doesn't come back to haunt the Wildcats. They got exactly what they wanted. Matter of fact, they got even better because now they got Fellows on first base. First and third, nobody out.
Baker comes set, delivers. There's a fastball across the inside corner. Makes the count 1 ball, 1 strike. And
don't know where Sellers was going right there. That was a pitch. That's normally a pitch he hits. Fastball inside.
Coach, we talked earlier in the game, early in the first game before you arrived, that they were backing out of a lot of inside fastballs and they were being called strikes. Maybe they hadn't seen this type of speed being thrown inside on them. Here's the 1-1. Sellers fouls it up. It'll be back out of play until about the third row.
And one of the assistant coaches on the Wildcat staff is Jordan Freeman, and he comes to Locust Grove with some college experience, a left-handed kid pitcher out of Luella High School that they got a chance to take some BP off of in the last couple of days, and he throws it up there about the same speed. So they've got a chance to look at a left-hander with this kind of speed for 2 days, and maybe they can get it timed up right and have some success.
Sellers dig back in. Baker comes set, 1-2. Here's the pitch.
That's going to get away from him.
He gets over to catcher's head. Cortez McDowell will come home and score. Fellows will move up to, Trey King will move up to second. And quickly, Locust Grove has gotten off to a 1-0 lead.
That's probably the best thing that could have happened right here for Locust Grove was to get on the board early against Redan's basically #1 guy and put some pressure on Redan, see if you can kind of get them. I think they won 16 games in a row, and put a little pressure on them. I don't think they've played from behind very much this year.
Here's the 2-2 to Sellers. Fastball outside makes the count 3-2.
Right.
Coach, the best way to forget about game 1 is to get up in game 2.
Well, they got to forget about it anyway. It's over and done with. Can't do nothing to change that. And you got to rely on being resilient.
Sellers fouls off an inside pitch. Back over to third base side.
That's the nice thing about baseball. You can have short memory. That game's over with. You get to come back and play again. Most of the time it's the next day, but here it's 30 minutes later.
That's it.
Sellers had a good cut on that, Paul. Might see an off-speed pitch right here.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Sellers. Baker comes set. Kicks and fires. Coach, you called it. Buried a curveball in on his back foot. Sellers swings over the top of it. And he'll be out #1 for Locust Grove here in the top of the first.
Number 22, John Shoemaker.
Bring Shoemaker to the plate. Shoemaker 0 for 2 in the first game. Had an RBI, bases loaded walk.
Trey King at second, 1 out.
Shoemaker
Going to lift a single.
right over the second baseman's head. That's going to bring Trey King in to score. And Shoemaker with an RBI single. And that'll bring to the plate the pitcher for game 2, number 6, Drew Young.
Number 6, the pitcher, Drew Young.
Great at bat by Shoemaker right there. Normally he's a guy, somebody that wants to drive the ball, wants to pull off of it. Really stayed on that fastball well, hit it where it was pitched, and laced him a single into right center field.
Drew had one of the 4 hits in game 1. Drew was 1 for 3. Been one of the hottest hitters for Locust Grove in the playoffs.
He sure has. Really changed his approach at the plate in a year. It just shows you some maturity out of the kid. Really been pleased with his progress, and he's been a vital part of this offensive output for the Wildcats.
Baker looks in, 1 out. Shoemaker on first. Here's the pitch. Drew swings over the top of the curveball, and Coach give Redan some credit right there. Drew's been very aggressive at the plate, and they take advantage of it with the curveball in the dirt on the first hit.
Got what they were looking for, swing and strike. Not much speed on the base pass for the Wildcats.
There's another off-speed pitch, and quickly Drew is behind in the count 0-2.
One thing I've noticed about Redan, their depth in their outfield is a little more than what we've seen in the playoffs.
The 0-2 pitch, another curveball to Drew Young, and Baker has his second strikeout of the inning.
Saw 3 pitches, and all 3 of them we were down the middle, a little more inside than in on his back foot.
For the shortstop, Dalton Hughes.
That'll bring up Dalton Coons, the shortstop for Locust Grove. Dalton 0 for 3 in the first game, had a rough game. 2 strikeouts at the plate, a couple of balls that ate him up in the field. But Dalton's a competitor, he'll forget about it. Swings and misses the first pitch, falls behind 0-1.
Right now it seems Baker's curveball seems to be his most effective pitch right now. Runner at first, 2 outs.
Baker comes set, kicks and fires. Curveball in the dirt. Coon stays off of it, evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike.
No matter what happens right here, it's already considered a successful first inning for the Wildcats. They had to get on the board in game 1 early and take the lead.
Baker at the 1-1. Dalton swings at the curveball. And Coach, I believe that's 7 straight curveballs that Baker has thrown. The count's 1-2. And I guess if you throw 7 pitches in a row and 6 of them are strikes, you stay with it.
I'm sure he'll see another one just a little more in this time.
Here's the 1-2. And there it is, another curveball. And Baker strikes out the side, but not before giving up 2 hits. He walks 1. We have 1 runner left on base, but Locust Grove jumps out to a 2-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the first. We'll be right back on Wildcat Television.
Welcome back to Locust Grove High School. We're going to be in the bottom of the first of Locust Grove and Redan. We're going to take a minute here to recognize our sponsors. For Locust Grove Athletics, American Pie Pizzeria, you'll never forget your first piece, 678-432-0007. Game On Trophies, your official trophy supplier of Locust Grove Athletics, 678-618-6323. And State Farm Insurance, Randy McClellan is your local agent, 770-898-6911. We want to thank all our sponsors of Locust Grove Athletics. We could not do it without their support. Please visit their establishments.
All right, here we are. Starting at the bottom of the first for Redan is the center fielder, Joey Graves. Graves 0 for 4 in game 1, sacrifice fly. Here's the first pitch by Drew Young. Gets upstairs, and it'll be ball 1. Drew, the game 2 starter for each game in the series, each playoff series so far for Locust Grove.
The key to his success is going to be starting, getting ahead early in the count, throwing a lot of strikes, and there you see one.
That evens the count up 1-1 on the Redan leadoff batter. Redan the home team for game 2. If we go to game 3, they'll flip a coin. And there's the 1-1, a curveball in the dirt. Makes the count 2-1. Catching Drew Young this game will be Josh Fellows.
He's been Drew's catcher throughout the playoffs.
And there's a base hit up the middle right at Cortez McDowell. So Graves with his first hit of the night. And just like Locust Grove in the top of the first, Redan gets the leadoff batter to start the bottom of the first.
James Nelson.
That'll bring up number 9, James Nelson, the second baseman. Nelson 1 for 5 in game 1 with a double. Drew, a guy that's got a good pickoff move to first.
Right now, though, it looks like the sun's in Seller's face, so I wouldn't want to handcuff him over there.
Drew starts off with the curveball. Nice stop by Fellows. Problem with Drew's pickoff move, Coach, is Drew generally has his A move or no move at all.
That's correct.
And sometimes his A move is picking off the guy in the bullpen.
Well, right now they can't afford to do that. Well, Coach, that wasn't his A move, but I will say this. He did not throw it over there at 90 miles an hour, so they did work on something this week.
Nice stop by Sellers catching the short hop in the dirt.
It's a whole lot easier to catch that short hop at 30 than at 90.
Drew looks in, gets his sign, comes set. Here's the 1-0.
Runner gone.
Runner goes.
That was stolen on the pitcher.
Graves has a stolen base. The pitch was the ball. Makes the count 2-0 on the second baseman, Nelson.
You can also tell why Graves is their leadoff hitter. He possesses a lot of speed. Two balls, no strikes. Runner at second. That's Graves. Fly ball. That's going to get Cortez on his horse. He's back up underneath it. Graves is going to tag at second base and going to advance on to third, and there's going to be one out. To get it over McDowell's head, you've really got to hit it.
Now batting the shortstop, number 17, Wesley Jones.
It's going to bring Wesley Jones to the plate. A Georgia signee, probably going to be a draft pick in this year's upcoming Major League Baseball draft. He leads the team in hitting in a .432 clip. And the first pitch from Young is going to be a curveball for a called strike.
Because that was a nice pitch. Establishing the strike zone with this curveball, that's a key for Drew Young. If he can throw his curveball for a strike, he's in for a good night most of the time. Redan, one out, runner on third. There's a curveball outside in the dirt. Nice stop by Fellows. Evens the count up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's one thing you get out of Fellows. That ball's over there outside the left-hander's batter's box. He's going to knock it down, save a run, and does a good job at that. Saves the Wildcats a lot of runs.
Here comes Drew set. 1 ball, 1 strike on the number 3 hitter for Redan. He buries the fastball down underneath his hands and gets ahead 1-2 on Baker.
Should be Jones, correct?
My fault. Wesley Jones. Here's the 1-2 by Drew. Curveball in the dirt.
Nice job by Fellows.
Smothered it and got a tag as it's going by, and there's 2 outs for Redan here in the bottom of the first. Great job of pitching right there.
Number 11, the pitcher, Brandon Baker.
That'll bring up the pitcher, Baker, to the plate. Baker with 2 hits in game 1, 3 RBIs.
He is your RBI leader on the team.
Left-handed hitter. Takes the first pitch outside corner at the knees for strike 1.
He led the team, Coach, with 36 RBIs. He's got 5 home runs. Really good bat. Big out right here for Drew Young.
The 0-1 pitch by Drew outside. Evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike on the Redan pitcher, Baker.
If you noticed right there, Drew fell off the mound on that pitch. When he stays within himself, he can be effective, but when he tries to overthrow and gets out of his arm slot, who knows where it's going.
Drew with the pitch, curveball down and in, ball 2, makes the count 2-1.
Baker did a nice job checking his swing right there. Runner at third, 2 outs, bottom of the first.
Drew comes set, kicks and fires home. Way outside, makes the count 3-1. And, Coach, this right here kills me as we watch the batter. Is before he gets in the box, and I guess it's just habit, he's going to look down at third base, make sure there's not a sign on. And, you know, when you're the number 4 hitter, it's a 3-1 count, your signs hit the ball.
You're right. But they may have been coached. You're going to look at me every time. So
the 3-1's inside, and Baker will draw a 2-out walk. As he trots down the first, we'll check with Coach Pruitt and see who he's going to bring in as a courtesy runner.
Third baseman, Trey Williams.
Looks like it's going to be number 10, Ken Elder, courtesy running for the pitcher. That brings up the third baseman, number 15, Williams.
big kid, big stocky kid right here. I don't know if he plays football. If he doesn't, he's missing out on something.
Williams 1 for 4 in game 1. Made an error to start off game 1, but other than that, done a nice job over there fielding his position. Drew comes set, Redan's first and third, 2 outs. Drew comes up and does a little fake, the third, turn around to first. And Coach, you know, right now, high school is the only organized sport where that play is not a balk anymore.
That's correct. I think that's going to be changed here in the next National Federation meeting. I'd be surprised if they don't change it. That way, they're even. Everything's the same, and that's one nice thing about baseball. The bases are the same distance, the pitching distance is the same. Most of the time, the rules are the same, and I think that's something they're going to need to change. And that way, it's always, it's going to be consistent.
Drew comes set. Ball is in the dirt. Kicks away a few feet from fellows. Nobody's able to advance. Makes the count 1-0 on the Redan third baseman. Sort of slowed down the pace of the game right now, but this is an important time for Locust.
Big out. Got to have an out right here.
Drew comes set, kicks up to third. And Coach, one thing you need to know, if you're going to fake to third and look back at first, you got to really make it look natural if you want it to work.
Right now he's selling it. It's pretty obvious what he's doing.
Drew comes set. Nice curveball. Williams swings over the top of. That'll even the count up, 1 ball and 1 strike. Because that shows a lot of confidence in Drew being able to throw a 1-0 curveball.
Well, and Williams kind of helped him out. He swung at a bad pitch. Might have been guessing right there, looking fastball.
And there's the 1-1 pitch is inside. The courtesy runner, Elder, took off for second. The throw from Fellows was cut off by Drew Young at the mound. And, Coach, I believe that was something that was scouted and seen against Mary Persons. That's twice they've thrown it back to the mound today against Redan, and Redan hasn't fallen for it.
Well, you notice in that when it happened against Mary Persons, it was in Game 3, and Redan was here scouting that game. So, yeah, I'm sure that's something that's been discussed.
And there's a 2-1 curveball. Williams swings at and misses, makes the count 2-2, and now you're looking at a base hit. Could be the difference in us being in a tie ball game as opposed to a good pitch right here, having a 2-0 lead for Locust Grove.
Williams has swung at two breaking pitches off the plate. This may be in time to go up above his hands right here with a fastball and see if he can sneak one in on him.
There's another curveball, and there's a base hit ripped to left field. The ball was hit too hard. Good job by Keenan Wise coming in, fielding the big hop. Graves scores, but Elder has to stop at third, and Redan will be first and third, 2 outs.
That curveball kind of hung up in the zone for him.
That'll bring to the plate the left fielder, Gale.
Your batter, number 2, the left fielder, Bakari Gale.
Gale 1 for 3 in game 1 with a base on ball.
Bakari was a young man that I coached when he was 8 years old, Coach. He played with some of my tournament teams. Good baseball player. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Comes from a good baseball background. Hard worker, great athlete. Really good stick.
Drew comes set, kicks and fires. Fastball swung on and missed.
One strike on Gale. Runners first and third. Runner goes.
Redan, they get caught first and third. And we just got things happening.
And now we do nothing. Don't get an out. Don't get anything.
So we'll reset and start again. And
Coach, you got to get an out right there.
You got to get an out.
I mean, all he had to do once the runner was standing at third base, just toss it to Sellers. He was a foot away from him. And you get the out right there and you're out of the inning.
The good thing for Locust Grove is it was a strike, and it's 0-2 on Gale. Wouldn't be surprised to see Locust Grove do that again.
Well, I don't think Redan's going to. I don't think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to run into an out right here. He took that pitch trying to steal a run right there. I think he took the strike on purpose.
There's a ball way upstairs. Nice stop by Fellows. Makes the count 1-2. Sort of a waste pitch on 0-2.
I mean, it won't count as an error in the scorebook, but that's an error on Gord right there. That's a mental mistake.
Here's the 1-2. And catches the outside corner, and Gale is down looking. Redan's able to get one run back. They have 2 hits, 2 runners left on base. And we'll head to the top of the second inning. Locust Grove 2. Redan 1. Duncan, a senior right fielder. Duncan takes the first pitch across the outside corner for strike 1. Duncan 1 for 3 in game 1, had a single. There's a curveball called strike 2.
Been very effective with the breaking ball. Can't move it any further.
Nice pitch by Baker. Curveball in the dirt. Good 0-2 pitch. Makes the count 1-2 on Duncan. And coach, since those first 2 batters it looks like Baker's really settled himself down.
He has. Probably a little, first inning jitters. And he started throwing his breaking ball for strikes, which ended up being his most effective pitch.
He comes back to the fastball, throws it right by Duncan, and that'll be out number 1. And, Coach, that's four outs for Locust Grove, and every one of them been by strikeout.
So I guess you can't say he settled down.
That'll bring.
But he is a strikeout leader now.
He is.
Number 11, Josh Patton.
Josh Patton is the designated hitter of this game. Patton batting for Keenan Wise, the left fielder. First pitch to Patton is a fastball, and he rips it into the right center field gap. Right fielder's over to cut it off.
The one thing about Patton, he is a good fastball hitter, and that may be why he used him as a DH in this game, and it turns out to be an effective move for Coach Phillips.
That'll bring to the plate the second baseman for Locust Grove, Alex Gord.
One out right here, Coach, with Cortez on deck. What do you do right here with Gord?
With one out, I wouldn't say sacrifice, but you might want to feel like you want to get something out of Gord, who could be a little overmatched. So it wouldn't shock me if we lay down a bunt.
And that's kind of what I was thinking. He's
Cortez, your hottest hitter on deck. Chance of not getting a run with somebody in scoring position.
Right. And Gord's somebody not with a lot of playoff experience, really not a lot of game experience.
Gord takes a pitch inside, gets ahead in the count 2-0.
And I think if he sacrifices right here, he may fool us all, may get a base hit. But if you sacrifice right here, you get a runner in scoring position, and it gives it's an effective out for him. But
not a lot of speed on first base with Josh Patton. Gord takes the 2-0 pitch right down the middle, makes count 2-1.
Don't ask Patton that though; he thinks he can run. I like a kid with confidence.
Gord getting his signs. Long look down at Phillips. He's in the box. Baker's looking in, gets his sign. Patton with the 2-step lead. Here's the pitch. Fastball in the inside corner, makes the count 2-2 on Alex Gord.
Well, not going to bunt here, Coach.
Not going to bunt. And Patton's at first base, and we say don't have a lot of speed. He don't have a lot of experience running the bases. Most of the time he's the catcher. Get somebody to run for him.
And that's correct. You're right about that. Didn't even think about that.
Here's the 2-2 pitch to Gord. Curveball.
Helped him out.
Hit towards the third baseman. They go to second for one. On to first is late. Gord hits into the fielder's choice.
Kind of sped his bat up right there, hung a little breaking ball at him, and kind of helped Gord out. Still got to run it first. They got an out. Going to be 2 outs right here. But it's going to bring the leadoff hitter Cortez McDowell to the plate, who singled in his first at bat, came around to score on a wild pitch.
And here comes the Redan coach out to talk to the home plate umpire. And I believe, Coach, he's going to go out and talk to the umpire at second base to see if the slide, what may have been a little high or a little illegal. In high school, you're supposed to slide to the base. And I'm sure he's going to ask if that slide at second base maybe wasn't a little improper.
Oh, I think he got it's definitely not on top of the bag, but I think he had contact with it. He could have reached it. I thought it was a good job breaking up the double play by Patton. And the second baseman was right on top of the bag, and he did get down. And he may have been a little wide, but he could have touched it with his hand.
And the umpire at second base has sent him back to the dugout. And I believe what's happening here, Coach, is Coach, the assistant can't come out and talk. It's got to be the head coach. So what the umpire in the field did was told that coach to get back in the dugout and send your head coach out here.
That's one nice thing about high school is they've got rules they put in place specifically for the head coach, and it kind of limits confusion in the dugout. It limits who can argue a call. But I'm not real sure. I thought the guy that came out first was the head coach.
I don't think it matters who's out there right now. I don't think nothing's going to be changed.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, chances are when you get sent off the field as the coach and another coach comes out, he ain't changing his mind. But
No.
I look at it as no harm, no foul. Let's play ball.
Well, that base coach out there in the field spent many years in the dugout at Jonesboro High School, so I think he knows the rules.
Yeah, I don't believe you're going to pull one over on him.
No.
That'll bring to the plate the leadoff batter for Locust Grove, Cortez McDowell. Cortez led off the game with a solid single up the middle.
Had 2 stolen bases, came around to score on the pass ball.
Here's the first pitch by Baker. Cortez sees a curveball inside corner for strike 1.
I kind of figured he wasn't going to see a fastball again. He may not see one in this at bat.
And Coach, just looking at the defense, what you brought up earlier, they don't shade anywhere. They play straight up, every batter. Here's the 0-1 off Cortez in the box. It'll be 0-2 quickly on Cortez.
Game 2.
Need to give a shout out to my wife who just sent a picture of my little boy to me.
I can't get my wife to get off the phone, or I could do some commentary with you.
Coach, it's all right. 0-2 fastball to Cortez is down the dirt. Coach, my little boy's at home digging in the dirt butt naked.
Hey, like father, like son.
He's too young to embarrass. We had to cut a tick off at the end of his wee-wee last night, so I guess I know how he got it.
Well, maybe he needs to keep his clothes on. Yeah.
Oh, Cortez takes a 1-2 pitch, gets jammed. It hits off of the pitcher's glove, and that's going to lead to an infield single for Cortez. One of those, if the pitcher lets it go, it's probably an out.
It's probably an out, but can't fault the pitcher for trying to make a play. He's going to put runners at first and second.
Your batter, number 7.
They went on through with it. You weren't going to throw Cortez out once it got off the pitcher's glove.
For Cortez, Coach, we need to say that's 11 hits in the last 4.5 games here in the playoffs.
That's
Cortez
impressive.
on fire.
That's impressive.
That brings to the plate Josh Fellows. Fellows walked his first at bat.
Runners at first and second, 2 outs.
Fellows takes a curveball down and in for ball 1.
And through really 1 2/3 of an inning, that's 35 pitches for Baker. But I don't think pitch count really counts too much in the playoffs, because we saw the Benson kid from Mary Persons throw it up there 115 times the other night. So you got to go with your best and see what happens.
Hey, Coach, first off, here's the 1-0 to Fellows, fastball inside. I heard Kurt Schilling say it the other day, if you're going to beat number 1s, you better beat them early. And the Benson kid was at 40-something pitches after 2 innings and then threw 60 over the next 5. So this is a great opportunity for Locust Grove to get to Baker early.
Well, they couldn't ask. They've got the heart of the lineup right here. Even though there's 2 outs, it'd be nice to put a run on the board right here. And
1-1 to Fellows, up and away, makes the count 2-1.
In a complete contrast to last week's home plate umpire, this guy seems to have a pretty good idea what the strike zone is. He's done a good job.
Great job behind the plate.
I don't want to speak too early and jinx him, but last week our home plate umpire didn't have a clue. We might have been better off letting the catchers call the balls and strikes.
Here's the 2-1 to Fellows, who fouls it off over the right-hand side. Nice to see our starting shortstop for the softball team duck out of the way.
We got 5 kids wrestling for it on the tennis court. We need to remind them they don't get a Coca-Cola for it, but just please go get it for us. We could use the baseball.
Fellows 2-2. Baker looking in. Gore on second. Cortez McDowell on first. 2 outs, top of the second. And here's the 2-2 to Fellows. Fastball just outside. That'll make the count 3-2. You just got to say, wow, great eye by Josh Fellows right there.
Pitch is a little too close to take as far as I was concerned.
That'll let the runners get a head start, which could be big with Cortez McDowell on first base. Anything towards the gap, he can score fairly easy with a head start. There's a pickoff towards second into center field. Nobody's going to move up. And, Coach, they did that a couple of times in game one, and with a good throw had Cortez picked off in game one. Not a bad time to do a pick at second on a 3-2-2 count.
Yeah, thinking they were going to be running.
That was just a quick turn move. Yeah, a good high leg kick, inside move. Could be more effective. Here's a 3-2, and Fellows fouls it straight back.
And the little pickoff move right there did a job on Gord. He didn't leave until the ball was almost at the plate. Looked like we were playing fast-pitch softball.
And Coach, this, with the lefty especially, this is a great time actually to come up and pick behind the runner at first base.
Right.
Especially somebody aggressive like Cortez, who's going to take off as soon as that leg moves. Fellows hits a 3-2 pitch up the middle.
Safe.
And we have a ball hit. They flip to second, and Cortez McDowell beats the toss. Gore trying to come home on the play, gets thrown out at the plate, and that's going to end the top of the second. No runs for Locust Grove on two hits. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Locust Grove 2, Redan 1.
Welcome back to Locust Grove High School. Going to the bottom of the second, Locust Grove leads 2-1. Kind of a base running error right there, Coach, to end the inning. I mean, just a little ground ball to second base. It didn't kick away, didn't go through anybody. I mean, just a clean fielding play by the second baseman. I thought he made a bad defensive play by not trying to get the out at first. But then I think we ran through a stop sign, must have. I just can't see trying to score from second.
We definitely bailed them out. They made a mistake, and we allowed them to make a play on us. We're going to start the bottom of the second off. Number 8 for the DH. 4 had 3 hits in game 1, 4 RBIs. Takes the first pitch inside. There's a fastball. It's inside. Quickly, 4's ahead in the count, 2-0. I apologize for not having the first name of all these Redan guys, but some of them I can't pronounce, some of them I can't read. 2-0 pitch is down in the dirt, now makes the count 3-0.
Only reason I know some of them's names is because I coached them or coached against them at a young age, and they were always really good. But most of these kids have played together through travel ball, and that's one of the nice things that a lot of times you don't get in high school, or kids that they play travel ball and they come from all over schools, and most of these kids have played together.
And Coach Redan is a school that the 3-0 pitch was across the plate for Strike one. There's a 3-1 pitch outside. Redan's a school that sits in the middle of a county that's not really known for a bunch of great baseball teams, but a school that throughout the years has great baseball players come through it. A lot draft, a lot go to big schools. Just a school that produces athletes each year.
And one perennial Major League All-Star in Brandon Phillips. Playing right now with the Cincinnati Reds, and always a dynamite, always a league leader in batting average and slugging percentage.
He can pick it with the best of them at second base.
See the play he made the other night, laying down. Yeah.
Yeah. Sports Center did him wrong not putting that at number 1. I think it was like number 7. That'll bring up to the plate the right fielder Dorsey. Dorsey pitched 5 innings the first game. Tries to lay down a bunt and fouls it straight back. Dorsey, left-handed pitcher, left-handed stick. 2 hits in game 1.
Speaking of Major League Baseball, Brace finally got off the snide last night. Justin Upton woke back up.
Coach, I think he hit a ball from Arizona back to Atlanta. And there's a bunt laid down by Dorsey down the first baseline. Drew Young's will get it, throw it to first and get the out. 4 moves up to second on the sacrifice.
How about in the catcher, number 16, Tyler Layton.
Good fundamental baseball by Redan right there, moving the runner over, getting an opportunity to
that brings up
runner in scoring position. Yep.
Layton, the catcher, he was 0 for 4 in game 1, reached twice on the error. There's a ball in the dirt. Nice stop by Fellows. As our spotter, Coach Shockley, pointed out, this is a big old guy to be batting in the number 9 hole.
Well, now I can tell why he stopped so many balls behind the plate. He needs to be playing goalie in hockey. I don't think you'd ever get anything by him.
Drew comes set, looks back at second. Kicks and deals. Fastball. Upstairs, makes the count 2-0 on the number 9 hitter, Layton.
Right here, Drew's got to find a way to fight back. Number 9 hitter.
And much like we talked about in the top of the second, Locust Grove having people on with the lineup flipped over, you don't want to do this for Redan. Put 2 guys on and have the top of the order come back up. Drew wheels around, looks at second.
I mean, the leadoff walk hurt him anyway. Most of the time, like we have said in the past, it always comes back to haunt you. But this time of the year with good baseball teams, they take advantage of walks.
Layton fouls one up over behind third. Shoemaker giving a look, and the grass jumped up and bit Shoemaker. Ball falls down.
Gives Layton new life.
Layton new life. Coach, that's one of those things. It won't necessarily be an error. It was a tough play, but a play Shoemaker will tell you he should have had.
He's going to tell you he should have had it if it was in the parking lot.
But
he's going to tell you he's going to make that play. But, yeah, you're right. He should have made that play. That's an out you got to have this late in the playoffs. You can't afford to give outs away.
Drew comes set. Here's the 2-1. Curveball for a strike. Makes the count 2-2.
Nice pitch right there.
And, Coach, going back to the second round series, this is what got Drew Young in trouble with some leadoff walks. It finally caught up with him in the middle of the game, and he didn't take the loss. But he wasn't able to last deep into the game because of the walks.
Right.
There's a 2-2.
I mean, there's a pitch that at no point did that pitch ever look like a strike. And it's 2-2. You got the hitter, basically in a pitcher's count, and you don't even give him a pitch that he even has to make an eye look at.
You got your 3-2, and you got to come back with basically the best you got because you don't want to walk the number 9 hitter. And there's a fastball, skied high, shallow center field. Cortez McDowell comes in, calls it. That'll be out number 2 here in the bottom of the second.
Your batter, number 1, center fielder, Joey Graves.
That brings up the leadoff batter, Joey Graves. Graves with a single to start the game off. Later come around and scored. And, Coach, what we're finding out is both teams have flipped the lineup here in the second inning. Is this could be a game that we get into the bullpens if pitchers can't get their pitch count down.
You're right.
Drew comes set.
You know, the one advantage you get from Redan standpoint, you got game one victory in your pocket. Here, Locust Grove can't do anything. They've got to play to win, or they don't see tomorrow. So you got to throw the best you got out there, and you can't let yourself get behind. And there, Drew does a great job with it right there and gets a little lazy fly ball to center field to get out of the inning.
Cortez catches the pop-up by Graves, and that'll do it for Redan here in the bottom of the second. Redan had no runs, no hits. They have a walk and leave one man on, and we'll head to the third. Locust Grove 2, Redan 1.
Sellers.
Welcome back to Locust Grove. We start at the top of the third. Leading off for Locust Grove will be Tyler Sellers. Sellers, a strikeout victim, his first at bat. 2-1 Locust Grove here in the top of the third. Locust Grove, the visiting team for game 2. Baker winds and throws. First pitch, curveball called a strike. Sellers quickly behind in the count, 0-1.
Got the heart of the order Wildcats right here.
Second pitch to Tyler's outside, evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sellers is only 0 for 3 on the day, but Coach, he's got 2 strikeouts in those 3 at bats. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Sellers. Fastball in the inside corner called strike.
He keeps giving up on that inside fastball, and I don't know why.
And he's sort of been Jekyll and Hyde through the playoffs. He's hit the ball. He's hit it hard and got a hits, but when he hadn't hit the ball, it's because he's striking out.
That's right. I think might have been game 2 against Mary Persons. I think he went 0 for 5 with 4 or 5 strikeouts.
And there's a curveball in the dirt. Nice stop by the catcher, Layton, who picks it up and tags him. And for the second time this game, Sellers is down on strikes. That'll bring to the plate John Shoemaker, who had an RBI single his first at bat.
Your batter, number 22, the third baseman, Johnny Shoemaker.
Kid that doesn't lack confidence. He's gonna. You can send him up there with a toothpick, and he can tell you can hit it in the parking lot.
Shoemaker 1 for 3 on the day. 2 RBIs. Fastball inside.
Saw his dad down there earlier today. I guess he's quit working out because he's starting to get a little small. And he's having to buy some medium shirts to make it look like he's still working out. I've known Billy Shoemaker a long time, and so I gave him a hard time about that.
Here's another pitch on the end, just off the inside corner, makes the count 2-0 on Shoemaker. Shoemaker, a guy that big tree trunks for legs, Coach. Bet those come in handy on the football field.
Center and nose guard. Controls the line of scrimmage when he wants to.
2-0 pitch is fouled off over first base. Makes the count 2-1.
Baker threw 20 pitches in the first inning, 20 pitches in the second inning, and pitch count's getting up there.
Here's the 2-1 pitch to Shoemaker. Fastball.
Inside.
Inside a little bit. Makes the count 3 balls and 1 strike on the Locust Grove third baseman.
And this will be pitch number 50. Through 2 1/3.
Shoemaker rips one down the third baseline. Shoemaker will go pulling in the second base with a 1-out double. And Shoemaker is 2 for 2 in the game 2 tonight.
That's that inside fastball that a couple of guys have given up on. And he did exactly what you're supposed to do, which is get the barrel of the bat on it and ripped it down the line for a double.
That'll bring to the plate the pitcher, Drew Young. Drew struck out his first at bat. Drew 1 for 3 in game 1.
Wildcats with a runner in scoring position. 1 out.
Chance for Drew to help himself out right here. Baker, a long look in. Gets what he wants. Nice curveball. Drew swings over the top. Quickly falls behind 0-1.
I think that's all he's seen. I think he's seen 1 fastball in these 2 at-bats.
Coach, if you're a pitcher, you're getting strikes. You make the hitters adjust to you. Wouldn't be surprised to see another one. There's the 0-1. Drew bunts the ball hard down the first baseline. Foul ball. Quickly Drew's behind in the count 0-2.
I'm assuming he was trying to bunt for a base hit right there. Because I don't know, you got a runner in scoring position. I don't think a sacrifice was in order.
No.
And he's one of your hottest hitters on the team. I'd be looking for him to be an RBI guy.
Drew in the hole, 0-2. Baker comes set and deals. Nice job by the catcher, Layton, who blocks the ball out towards third. Shoemaker unable to move up. Makes the count 1-2 on Drew. I believe Baker just tried to overthrow a curveball right there.
Well, last time Drew saw nothing but curveballs. He curveball over the middle, curveball inside, and curveball off the back foot, and swung over the top of all 3 of them. So that's got to be Baker's out pitch right here.
Here's the pitch.
Fastball.
Fastball in that inside corner, and just like a lot of other folks, Drew bailed out.
Coach, that fastball had a little giddy up on it.
Had a little giddy up, and Coach, I'm starting to wonder if that ball's got a little tail back into the plate the way these guys keep bailing out.
Now batting number 4, the shortstop.
Almost like a good cutter.
Yeah, maybe throwing a little cutter.
That'll bring up Dalton Coons.
And when you're a left-hander throwing at 91, you can throw a cutter right at the knees of the right-handed batter. That's a tough pitch.
Dalton turns on the curveball and knocks it foul down the third base side. And much like Drew, saw nothing but curveballs his last at bat.
Better swing at a breaking ball that time.
Better
That's
swing.
really, I mean, basically in the playoffs, that's the best swing he's made at a curveball in all 3 series.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a fastball on the outside corner tail away from him right now. See if you can get him pulling his front shoulder from Redan. We'll find out in just a second. Baker set, delivers.
Fastball. I think that was a fastball, either that or I really don't know what it was. It bounced 4 feet in front of home plate. So
he only threw it 58 feet, whatever it was. Nice job again by the catcher, Layton. Coach, I think what we're finding out from both pitchers is they got a lot of trust right now in the catcher to stop the ball. There's that fastball in the inside corner that must have been off just a tad.
I still think I think you're right, Coach. I think it is a cutter. But I'll give Dalton a little credit there. He didn't give up on that pitch. But that pitch was inside. Redan coaches didn't like it. That pitch was in.
That makes the count 2-1 on Dalton. And we'll go again and say these umpires have done an outstanding job. Here's the 2-1 inside.
Same pitch.
Same pitch, same call. It makes the count 3-1. Because that's all you ask for. The umpire be consistent.
I think the pitch he's called a strike on the inner half has been a strike, and the pitch he's called a ball on the inner half has been a ball. He's done a great job back there.
Dalton ahead 3-1. Tyler Duncan on deck.
Good hitters count right here. Looking for something you can drive right here.
If he throws a 3-1 curveball and you're not looking for it, let it go. Here's a 3-1. There's a. I don't think it was a fastball, but it sure did look like a curveball. Almost like a changeup. You're right, Coach, but Dalton tips it right into the catcher's glove. Anyway, it makes the count 3-2. Shoemaker on second.
2 outs.
Shoemaker not being held on, needs to extend his lead so he has a chance to score on the base hit. Dalton fouls the 3-2 pitch straight back.
He was all over that fastball. I'd be surprised if he throws another one unless he throws that inside cutter. And you're right. I mean, Shoemaker's got a little league lead, and Redan is nowhere. They don't have anybody even close to holding him on. I don't even think the pitcher's checked him.
Here's the 3-2 to Dalton. Fastball, Dalton fouls it back once again, stays alive.
I was kind of surprised he threw him a fastball right there.
I was too.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. This will be the third 3-2 pitch on Dalton.
Shoemaker needs to extend his lead.
There's that 3-2 changeup, and Dalton's way out in front, and that'll do it for Locust Grove here at the top of the third. Locust Grove gets no runs. They have one hit, leave one runner on base, and we'll head to the bottom of the third. Locust Grove 2, Redan 1. All right, welcome back to Locust Groves. We start off the bottom of the third. Leading off for Redan will be the second baseman, Nelson. Nelson takes the first pitch in the dirt and get ahead 1-0. 2-1, game 2, the third round of the Quad A State baseball playoffs.
Last inning, Drew walked the leadoff man. Can't keep doing that. Got to get that leadoff man out.
He quickly falls behind 2-0. And Coach, in the first game, it wasn't the two guys at the top that hurt Locust Grove. It was these guys in the middle. And you sure don't want to put the top of the order on the base when the guys in the middle coming up. 2-0 pitch. Hit down the third. Shoemaker hits off his glove, goes into foul territory. Shoemaker will get it. Hold Nelson to first base.
I'm going to give him a single on that.
Yeah, that's a single. Shoemaker reacted and knocked it down. I believe if it gets by him, though, the angle of that hit, Nelson probably would have got to second.
Yeah, it would have been a double.
And here comes Coach Phillips out to the mound to talk to Drew.
He's only thrown 35 pitches on the night.
Yeah, not really.
But I think part of the problem might be you can't get behind every batter. You get behind every batter, they're going to start teeing off on it. You've got to work ahead in the count. You got to fill it up. It's a term we use. Fill it up. It means throw strikes early in the count. You got to work ahead. I think that's what he's trying to tell him. Look, you get behind in the count, they're going to tee off on you.
Phillips spending a lot of time over there talking. It looks like, well, he's talking face-to-face with Drew Young. I thought he was talking to Sellers there for a minute, but.
And he may have been.
Phillips is through with his visit, and that'll bring to the plate the shortstop, Wesley Jones. Jones with a strikeout, his first at bat. Jones with the RBI double in game 1. Drew comes set. Jones steps out at the plate. And, Coach, what I'm really worried about here is Drew Young worried so much about that runner on first that this ain't the type of hitter you want to forget about at the plate.
Well, he did throw a first pitch strike and got him to pop it up into center field, and McDowell's underneath it.
That'll be out number 1.
Your batter, the pitcher, number 11, Brandon Baker.
That'll bring the left-handed hitting Brandon Baker to the plate. Brandon,
my head coach is calling. I got to take a break a second. What you got? Yeah, we're winning 2-1 game 2.
Baker walked his first at bat. Drew comes set. Kicks.
You done?
Curveball down and in.
Yeah, come on. Hey, when you're head football coach, when the boss calls, I had to answer that phone.
I understand.
I'd be like Miss Gino calling. I better get it. I need a job next week. I can't coach girls basketball. I get one from Coach Shook.
Nelson takes off from first base, and not really any chance right there for Fellows on the high leg kick. He stole that one off the pitcher. Pitches outside, makes the count 2 balls and no strikes on the pitcher from Redan, Baker. Nelson at second. 2-1 ball game, bottom of the 3rd. Locust Grove leads. Drew gets the sign, comes set. Fires fastball way upstairs, 3-0 on the Redan pitcher.
Coach, I got a chance to see an old friend today, Coach Brian Bohannon, who just got the head job at Kennesaw State. I ran into him today, and it was nice to see him.
Coach, we just had ball forward to Baker, but a break for Locust Grove. The ball went all the way to the backstop, and Nelson stood on second base. He could have walked to third. Not real sure why he didn't move up, but
and Baker was screaming at him to go. I don't know what he was looking at.
Coach at third base was yelling at him as well. But anyway, Redan will have runners on first and second. 1 out. That's the second walk of the game for Baker, who will be replaced at first base by courtesy runner Ken Elder.
Elder ran. If you don't know the rule in high school, you get a courtesy runner for the catcher and the pitcher, but it has to be the same guy. Elder ran for him earlier, so that will be your replacement. He's your courtesy runner, and as long as Baker stays on the mound, that's your courtesy runner for the pitcher.
And Coach, that's a huge play because you take away a sacrifice fly, you take away a pass ball. There's a lot of ways you can score at third, but that's in 2 outs.
And you still got a force play at third base.
That's a big play. And there's some first pitch right there to Williams, the third baseman. It's a curveball. And Coach, just like with the Redan guy, when the ball's inside, the umpire called it.
It was inside. It was a late breaker. I thought it was a ball. Locust Grove didn't like it, but
they wanted that call when they were hitting.
Runner go high leg kick. He ain't got a chance.
No chance. Nelson makes up for it. Steals third.
He was halfway there before Drew let go of the ball.
Elder moves up to second. So now Redan has second and third. 2-0 count on Williams, who had an RBI RBI single in the first inning. Chance to knock in 2 runs right here.
You know, what's kind of surprising me, Locust Grove, was they knew coming in that Redan was going to be aggressive on the base pass, and he never even checked the runner.
Good job by base running. You know, they've been aggressive, but they're also very smart out there. Williams fouls the ball into the third base dugout.
It's one thing I've noticed with Redan. They're very well coached, very fundamentally sound. They play basically what we call ABC baseball. They play it by the book, which is nice to see in this day and time. You know, a lot of times, a lot of teams have went away from that, and I'm really impressed with this team.
A disciplined, athletic team. Very fun to watch. Drew comes set. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fastball. Williams fouls it off behind the plate. That makes the count 2-2. Drew may have got away with the pitch right there.
And he kind of left it hanging. I think Williams tried to hit that in the parking lot. He's got 4 home runs on the year, so he does have home run power. Coach, I don't know. It's been a while since I've been to Redan, but for years they didn't even have lights at their field. And
last time I was there, Coach, they didn't have lights.
So I don't know if they've added lights there or not. I remember games being played, and they have to call them in the middle of the 5th inning, and you come back 2 weeks later and have to finish the game. Kind of crazy.
It's been about 5 years since I've been there, and they didn't have lights then.
And it's hard for me to believe with the season starts when it starts in February before time changes that they can get very many home games in early.
You're right. And the other thing is, too, Coach, is sometimes it's a disadvantage if you're not used to playing under the lights. That ball is a little different off the bat, a little different up in the air, so we'll see.
I think we've gotten past the bad part of the.
Williams hits a ground ball towards the hole at short. Shoemaker knocks it down. Nelson's going to come home and score.
I think
Baker had to stay at second base.
I need instant replay on that.
Your batter, the left fielder, number 2, Bakari Gale.
I'm assuming it's an error. I mean, I think with Williams running, I think if he fields it cleanly, he gets the out at first base.
Out.
And it was a tough play, but it's a play you got to make.
That'll bring up the left fielder, Gale. Gale, a strikeout victim, his first at bat. 1 for 3, game 2. Excuse me, 1 for 3, game 1. Redan first and second. They tied the game up at 2. Still 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. There's the pitch.
Gale swinging for the fences.
He took a hack. Coach, he was looking where he wanted to hit it, but
I talked so good about him early, and he's giving me 4 bad swings. So good for Locust Grove.
Drew quickly hit 0-1. Drew steps off, looks at second.
2 mental mistakes by the Wildcats in this inning so far, not holding the runner at second base and letting him get to third and then making the error at third base.
There's the 0-1 pitch, a curveball upstairs. Hey, Coach, I just got to say, because I'm a little old school, I like these uniforms by Redan.
Oh, I do too.
Some white pants, give me a navy blue top, button up, nothing fancy whatsoever. Just look good to me.
Kind of looks like Georgia Southern to me. That's why I like them.
Nice 1-1 curveball by Drew Young. Swing and a miss by Gale.
Our assistant softball coach, Coach Shockley, has left the building. He is heading home to take care of that baby. I think Mama's calling. He has run out of his kitchen pass, and it's time to get home.
2-2's in the dirt. Nice stop by Fellows.
For some reason, Drew looks like he's laboring out there. It's not, but, you know, once again, Coach, we've talked about it before. He tends to run off the mound and run around. He must put in 10, 12 miles in a game.
Oh.
Well, he did what you're supposed to, which is go ahead and go through with the pitch. But a high and tight message may not have been what he should have done.
And good thing Fellows caught that ball. That might have knocked out an umpire.
Yeah.
Gale get back in there. 3-2 count. 1 out.
Bottom of 3.
And, Coach, he's looking. See, we're still up on the corners on a 3-2 count.
I can't figure it out.
And we've had 2 balls hit to third that if we had a little depth, we probably could catch both of them.
Yep.
And the scoreboard was wrong. My fault. It was only 2-2. Now it's 3-2.
My wife said, "Don't worry about my kitchen pass. I'm good for the night."
Good. Coach, I talked to her earlier. I don't think she's going to remember half the night.
No. Yeah. But I will say this: she's a good mama, and I'll give her a belated Happy Mother's Day. Our son came home from college. That's ball 4, which also helped, on her Mother's Day. She hadn't seen him since Christmas, so things were good in my house all weekend.
And ain't it amazing when your kids do something good for your wife, it makes your weekend so much easier.
Oh, it always does. Happy wife's a good home.
Designated hitter, Miles Ford.
Now Drew's walked the bases loaded. Now we're in trouble.
That brings up to the plate number 8, Miles Ford, a DH. Miles 3 for 4 on the day, 4 RBIs, a base on ball.
Locust Grove's got some activity down in the bullpen. It looks like Ty Plumley's going to get up and get loose. The left-handed reliever Locust Grove's counted on all year, the senior. This may be Drew's last batter if he don't get an out right here. You can't afford for Redan to get a big inning.
Drew comes set, delivers. Fastball, and there's a base hit over shortstop. That's going to drive in 1. Here comes the throw to the plate. We may have a play at the plate. Throw is late at the plate. Drew cuts it off and throws it back down to third, and he'll nail Gale trying to move over to third on the play. But Ford has himself an RBI single. 2 RBIs.
Yep.
That's going to make the score 4-2 Redan here in the bottom of the third as they put up a 3 spot already.
Kind of bad base running by Ford right there. Cut it off. He's still standing at first base spectating, but it doesn't matter. He takes off, steals second on the pitcher. He was halfway there. I guess it didn't matter.
High leg kick, curveball, couldn't have picked a better spot. Call was a strike to the right fielder for Redan Dorsey. Redan with another man in scoring position. Dorsey fouls one over to third base side. Dorsey, a guy went 2 for 4 in game 1, had a sacrifice bunt his first time up in game 2.
Big inning right here for Redan. The 3 runs was big.
17 batters in 3 innings. That don't average out real good for Drew. The 0-2 pitch outside. Count 1 and 2 on Dorsey.
Thrown 53 pitches so far. It's not really been his pitch count. It's been the times he's gotten some first pitch outs, but the batters that he's walked, he's gotten deep into the count. And
it's been a hard 53 at times.
It has been a hard 53. I'll agree with that.
Here's the 1-2. Dorsey ground ball towards the hole at first base. Cut off by Sellers. Drew does a good job covering first, and that'll do it for Redan here in the bottom of the third, but not before they score 3 runs. Couple of hits, couple of walks, couple of errors. Redan has 1 left on base, and we'll go to the top of the 4th. Redan 4, Locust Grove 2. Locust Grove as we start the top of the fourth. Leading off for Locust Grove, the right fielder, Tyler Duncan. His first at Tyler 1 for 3 in game 1. Upstairs. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball outside, 2-0. Duncan ahead in the count, 2-0. Here comes Baker. Fastball, Duncan swings through, makes the count 2-1. Dorsey kicks and fires. 2-1 on the inside corner, makes the count 2-2. Nice pitch by the pitcher. Duncan gets back in there. Baker looks in, gets a sign. And there's the 2-2 pitch that, wow. Duncan was heading back to the dugout. Because that might have been the first one the umpire behind the plate missed all game, but Locust Grove will take it. That makes the count 3-2. Whew. Sometimes the pitcher just throws one that's too good. There's the 3-2 pitch. And Edma sits down and in. And
that was definitely a ball there.
That was definitely a ball. Duncan will take the leadoff walk. And that'll bring to the plate the DH, Josh Patton. Josh Patton, not a guy I would expect to bunt because I don't believe he's DH in this game to bunt, but who knows? We'll see. Josh squares around. Strike 1.
Made an attempt at it. And we got a small break right here. I just got to give a shout out to one of the sweetest, most wonderful woman I've ever known, and that's my mother. And it's a happy belated Mother's Day to her. But what a good woman she is. Put up with my daddy all those years.
Josh Patton ropes a line drive right at the left fielder. Left fielder did a good job keeping that ball in front of him. Patton's 2 for 2 on the day, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Alex Gord. And, Coach, I'd be surprised if he's not bunting right here.
Got to bunt him right here. And you got nobody out. I mean, Cortez on deck.
Your batter, the second baseman, Alex Gord.
Baker looks in, Locust Grove first and second, no outs. Redan thinks he's bunting. They're creeping in awful tight at first base.
Yep, first baseman's halfway down the line.
And if you're Gore with a guy on second right here, you'd like to bunt it at the third baseman.
Make the third baseman field the baseball.
There's the square. Gore pulls back. And, Coach, one thing I noticed right now is the second baseman didn't break the first, so just dropping down a bunt, he may have a chance of beating it if nobody can get back to first base.
Well, Gord's not blessed with fleet of foot speed, so it's going to have to be a good one.
There's the pitch, and Gore butts it towards the first base dugout.
One thing I don't think some of these guys understand, when you're sacrificing, you're bunting to make an out.
Yeah, he bunted that ball behind him, Coach. You got to have that bat out front.
Got to get it out front. The barrel's got to be above your hands. You know, little fundamental things.
Gore gets in, 1-1 count.
Just hate to be a saying that.
Pick off at second base. And they've run that play 4 or 5 times this evening, and what happens is one of the middle infielders will break in, and we can't see, but the catcher must be dropping his glove to let the pitcher know.
Well, that's something that base runners should be picking up on as well.
Not a big lead out there at second base. Gore, there's the bunt, and Gore hits a home run over the third base fence. That'll make the count 1-2.
Coach, he took a full swing at it.
Took a full swing at a ball above his head. You know, sometimes we just got to speak the truth. Can't sugarcoat it. That was just a bad job right there.
This is a very big play in the baseball game.
Yes, it is. You got a chance to move 2 guys in the scoring position with your hottest hitter coming up.
I'm still bunting him again.
I would. I would take a chance. You know, I always felt if you can bunt with no strikes or 1 strike or 2 strike, you might as well be able to bunt when it's 1-2.
Well, he hasn't looked very good so far, so maybe we'll see a pitch he can get down.
Redan was still in, expecting he might bunt, and hits a line drive to third baseman, and look at that.
Hits into a double play.
Outstanding play by third baseman Williams. And I don't know if there's a whole lot that Duncan can do on second base, but, you know, on one hand you want to say, Alex, you hit a line drive. On the other hand, you say, if you got the bunt down.
Yeah, you don't hit into that.
You don't hit into that. Anyway, that means Cortez will come up with 1 out and a guy on first.
Big play for Redan right there.
Huge. Because they get Cortez out, and they could have all the momentum in the world coming in the bat right here. This would be big for Cortez just to take this count deep. As I say that, he hits the first pitch right at the second baseman, and that'll end the inning for Locust Grove. Redan was able to get around a base on ball and a base hit. Locust Grove had no runs. They leave 1 guy on base, and we'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Redan 4, Locust Grove 2.
Welcome back to Locust Grove High School. We're going to the bottom of the 4th inning. We're going to have a pitching change for the Wildcats. Ty Plumley is going to take the mound for the Wildcats. Been a very effective pitcher so far during the playoffs. Left-hander, tall, lanky kid, senior going to Point University. Definite change of speed, definite change in basically motion. They're going to see something different. Kind of a herky-jerky kind of kid. Throws a lot of strikes, got a good curveball, nice change-up. Locates the ball well. Has really done a great job for Wildcats this year.
Coach, you're right. And his job right now is to come in and hold Redan at 4 runs. You know, he's a senior. Losing game 1, this could be his last chance to ever pitch in a high school game. And if he don't hold Redan to where they are, it may be tough for Locust Grove to come back and win this ball game.
Yeah, and you can't find a better kid in him. He's a hard worker, team player. He's all about, team baseball. I'd take a whole team full of him. I think he's a team captain. Been a leader for this ball club. Pitches with a lot of confidence. Plays with a lot of confidence. And
as a freshman coach, I never would have guessed he'd have made it 4 years. And look at him, he's making it 4 years and going to play college baseball.
That's outstanding. I agree with you.
And here's the first pitch. It's a little bit off the plate to the catcher, Layton, for Redan. Layton 0 for 1 on the day, on the game, 0 for 5 on the day. Here's a 1-0 pitch by Ty, and it's outside, and it'll be quickly 2-0 on the Redan catcher. And, Coach, after that double play last inning, Redan with some momentum. This is a huge inning. Redan's got a chance to put this game away by scoring a lot of runs right here. Ty's got to shut the door.
He's got to shut it.
There's a 2-0 strike. Layton taking makes the count 2-1.
It's almost like you could feel the air just come out of this ball field on that double play.
And, Coach, if we look at the first game and look halfway through the second game, you know, the difference is routine plays, base on balls, errors.
That seems to be the story in both games so far.
We get to this level, they're magnified, and honestly, Redan has not booted the ball.
Played very solid defense, fundamentals. We talked about it earlier. They're a very sound team.
Here's a 2-2 pitch by Ty, fouled off by the catcher over first base. Nice job staying alive with 2 strikes.
You know, the winner of this series will face Troup County. They upset Veterans today, so
winner of this series will host, Coach. These are number two seeds, and the catcher hits a swinging bunt out in front of the mound. Plumlee, swift of feet, comes off the mound, picks it up, throws to first. Job by Ty filling his position.
Now batting for Redan, number 1, the center fielder, Joey Gray.
Number 4 seed out of that region. Now, it's a really good region of baseball, that region that they're in. So, it's no shock. But, Veterans was supposed to have a really quality baseball team. So, to get swept in 2 games is shocking to me.
Coach, they beat Veterans, I believe, was a 1 seed or 2 seed. They started off beating Eastside, who was number 1 seed. So they've faced some quality opponents. They're not going to be intimidated by either one of these teams.
Right.
Plumlee falls behind the leadoff batter. Graves 1-0.
But you always find good quality baseball down in Troup County, Noonan, East Coweta. There's always quality baseball right there.
And, Coach, we say they're a 4 seed, but, they spent their whole year playing competition.
You're right.
They're used to it.
Yeah, they step out on the field, and it's a war every time they play. There's no off days over there in that region.
Now, I don't think you can underestimate the quality of opponents you can play throughout the year and how ready it can get you.
That's kind of one of the things I think that you get, you get an opportunity to play some non-region games. I think if I'm a coach, I'm going to go find the best baseball team I can find if I feel like I'm a quality playoff contender.
And wins are good, and you may win some, you may lose some, but the idea is get ready for the playoffs. Graves with a base hit through the 4-hole. Tyler Duncan comes up and gets the ball back in. The second hit of the game for Graves. That'll bring up to the plate James Nelson.
One for 2 on the night, has 2 stolen bases. Scored the tying run back in the 3rd inning. And when we talked about flipping the lineup, and here it is. This is 3rd at bat, and we're in the 4th inning.
And Graves on first base. Now, Ty being a left-handed pitcher may try to keep him close, but speed on the bases.
Coaches for Redan are hollering for a balk. Said he didn't come set. I don't think he came set either. But
he don't, and we heard a lot of people yell balk, but the umpires didn't. And you know what? If you tie, hopefully Ty Plumlee's got to realize that, and hopefully he heard it, and this time he'll come set. The pitch was fouled off at the plate. Counts 0-1. And there's 0-1. It gets to the backstop.
Something you don't see out of fellows very much. Pass ball. I'm not sure if they crossed him up or the pitch was almost a strike.
And Graves will move up to second. You're right, Coach. The only thing I think he may have been set up on the outside corner and not across the inside corner, but good chance if he catches that ball, he gets a strike out of it.
It may have shocked fellows. Plumlee's not one that doesn't hit his spots very much. It's one of his keys is he's control effective.
There's a high chopper at third. Shoemaker fields the ball but throws it in the dirt to first base, and short arm. Nelson will reach on the air at first, and Graves will move up after the air at third. Graves not going to third on the throw. Once it kicked away from Sellers at first, he moved up. And that brings up Wesley Jones, the number 3 hitter, with runners at first and third and 1 out. And what we've talked about most of the night is one team's making the routine plays, one team's not. Fellow's getting his look and calling a first and third play.
I would think Locust Grove probably defensively. I'd like to see him halfway right here, up the middle, but Dalton's way back.
The way you're struggling to score runs, I was always told as a coach when giving up a run takes you out of your offensive plan, that's when you have to move up. And right now the offensive plan for Locust Grove has got to be we can't let them score because we're having a hard time. Maybe with one out, they're trying to stay back in the middle, see if they can turn two, but this is an awful fast guy.
Redan's going nowhere, not going to be fooled by that.
Nelson steals second, and we once again throw it through the pitcher. And that's a staple of Coach Phillips from being in the dugout. He likes to throw it to the pitcher. Works great if they take off from third. You just give them second base if they don't.
I think at this level, you got to have enough confidence in your catcher and your middle infielders that you got to be able to try to get, this ain't 11-12 baseball. This is high school baseball. You got to be able to throw the baseball down and try to get some outs at second base.
A little surprised. Throw to first once or twice there, just close.
He had him close, and I think if we'd have thrown all the way through, we had him out.
Redan's in a position now that they can run. Speed's their advantage, and with the lead, they can be aggressive on the base pass. Plumley's failed behind 3-0 on Jones. A time where Locust Grove may have to get the bullpen going again because you got to use whoever you got tonight. There's no tomorrow. And that may be making a defensive change to get somebody in the field and in the bullpen, or maybe getting whoever's in your dugout in the bullpen. Plumley looks in, gets his sign, 3-0. There's a strike across the inside corner. It looked like Jones was taken all the way.
It might have been the first inside ball off the plate. It's been called a strike all night.
I believe the batter standing there may have just called a strike. Jones fouls one down the right field side, get out of play.
It hit the pole, and it liked to have knocked out Tyler Duncan in right field. He took his head off of it, was going to get ready to trot back to right field, and it hit the light pole, and it liked to have came back and hit him in the head. Boy, that would have been a freak accident. But that's how Locust Grove night's going.
And so Plumley, who was 3-0 on Jones, now has him 3-2. At first base, but you don't have to give. See if you.
It doesn't get any easier behind him.
And Coach, I'll go ahead and say now, if somehow we can get Jones out with the strikeout, I wouldn't think it'd be a bad idea to go ahead and put Baker on the way he's hit the ball all night.
Right, I agree. I mean, still don't get easier behind Williams, but Baker is your guy who's your RBI leader on the team. So
been on base 5 out of 6 times, and
but
you got to get this one first. There's the payoff pitch once again. And there's a hit ball down the right field line. Duncan tries to dive for it and won't get it. Redan and Jones has himself a stand-up triple, 2 RBIs, and all of a sudden Redan is ahead 6-2.
And they're on the verge of blowing it wide open.
Yes, they are.
Your batter, number 11, pitcher.
While he makes his visit, we're going to take a break here on Wildcat TV. Coach Phillips is done with his meeting at the mound and retires back to the dugout. Still 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Redan has plated 2 runners already. Jones is standing at third base with a stand-up triple. It's going to bring up one of the hottest hitters for Redan, which is Baker, their RBI leader on the year, and it could get ugly.
You're right, Coach. Baker with 2 base on balls in game 2, 2 for 3 in game 1, 4 RBIs, been on base 5 out of 6 times. Ty starts him off with the fastball high and tight, and he's falling behind 1-0.
Defensively, Locust Groves brought the infield in, going to try to cut the run off at the plate. They can't afford to have any more runs scored.
Plumlee gets the sign, kicks. Baker takes a curveball upstairs, counts 2-0.
I know one team in Henry County has advanced to the Final Four, and that's Elka. They played game 3 today and came out on top. I think it was 24-6.
Yeah. I think they said they scored 14 runs and 17 hits, something like that in the 1 inning. 25-6, 14 runs, 17 hits in the 6th inning.
Wow.
And Baker has his 3rd base on ball today.
Your batter, the third baseman, number 15, Trey Williams.
That'll bring out courtesy runner Elder once again. And it'll bring up to the plate the 3rd baseman, Trey Williams. 1 for 2 on the 2nd game with the RBI single in the 1st inning.
No matter what happens, right, it's been a successful season for Wildcat sports. You know, our girls soccer team, who was defeated by Marist on Friday night, made it to the Elite 8. And Locust Grove's very young. They're going to lose 2 seniors, basically starting seniors. So they've got a lot to look forward to. I just don't think the game's over. In the dugout, I'm not hearing what I feel like I should be hearing, which is some excitement and realizing that you're not out of this game.
Well, I looked at the same thing as Williams gets started with his first pitch strike by Ty, is looking out at the crowd. The crowd's just sort of sitting there talking, not really into the game. I'd like to see the crowd get up and start seeing if they can get Locust Grove out this inning.
See if they can get them, rally them up. Runner was going on the pitch.
Williams fouls it off down past first. That makes the count 0-2 on the Redan 3rd baseman.
Been kind of a tough inning for Ty, and he should have, he's only given up 1 earned run. I mean, we're in a situation right here where we dropped that error at 3rd base. It cost him an out. Got to find a way to get out of it. Still only down 4.
Locust Grove got some action in the bullpen. Levi Knight up and throwing once again.
He pitched in game 1. I know Locust Grove's deeper in pitching.
Yeah.
And they've already seen Levi.
So, and Coach, that's one reason this game, if you can get out of this game's not over. If you can get to Redan's bullpen, their starters got a lot of pitches, having to take a big break right here. Runner takes off from first, and the throw down by Fellows is late.
Well, at least they threw all the way through that time.
Yeah, you're right. Redan's got runners at 2nd and 3rd. 1-2 pitch on Williams. It was a high pitch, but one that Fellows really had to jump up for. So not the best pitch to throw down on the steal. Here's a pitch by Plumlee. Must have been a little out. Evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Coach, he's only got 1 out here in the inning, and he's already thrown 20 pitches. He's sitting in a situation to where he's got to get a strike right here and got to find a way to get an out.
This is huge, Coach. It's 6-2, but 2 runners in scoring position.
And wow, where was that pitch?
Coach, Fellows dropped it, and I'm assuming because he dropped it, maybe the umpire called it low. I'm not, Coach, I don't know.
Well, Fellows thought it was a strike because he dropped it, then tagged him. And then he got mad and threw the ball back to Plumlee. Payoff pitch.
Williams fouls it up over first base. We'll do it again. On deck is the left fielder, Gale.
6-2 bottom 4.
Plumlee gets his sign, kicks and fires, curveball, little check swing out towards short. Dalton come up and got control of the ball, and I think he went to throw it to first, and Plumlee may have been in his way.
I think he had a play at the plate.
I think he had a play at the plate too, Coach. If you're gonna play in, the ball's hit at you. That's why you're playing in. But any way you look at it, Redan scores another run on the infield single by Williams.
Your batter, number 2, the left fielder, Bacaria Gale.
That's going to bring Gale to the plate and puts Redan in another first and third situation. And Coach, all game long they've been first and third in a couple of pitches. They've stolen.
It's going to be at second and third. This was not what Locust Grove was expecting, I can tell you that. I really felt like talking to the kids and talking to the coaches that, that they had a shot at this series. They knew it was going to be a tough series, but they felt like they could get out of here with at least a sweep today and come back in Game 3 tomorrow and take the series. I mean, they're playing a really good baseball team, but they haven't played well defensively.
Seems like Redan came more focused. And when it rains, it pours. As Gale takes it, it's a solid single through the right side.
And now you got to figure out how long you're going to leave Plumlee.
And here comes Coach Phillips. That's going to score Elder, make it 8-2. That'll move up Williams second, and Redan will be first and second, 1 out. And Locust Grove's going to the bullpen to bring in Levi Knight. And we'll take a break here at Wildcat Field and be back in just a minute. Welcome back to Locust Grove. Pitch and change for Locust Grove. Levi Knight comes in to pitch for Ty Plumlee. Leading off the first batter, Levi Knight will face here in the bottom of the fourth is the designated hitter.
Levi pitched in Game 1.
Miles Forrest leads off. Mile with the base on ball and RBI single earlier in the game. Takes the first pitch and fists it to second base. Alex Gore up with it and throws to first. And that'll be out number 2. And good job by Levi coming in and getting the ground ball.
And Redan has batted around. Dorsey will be the 9th hitter in the inning.
For Darius Dorsey.
Dorsey 0 for 1 in the game with a sacrifice and a ground ball to the first baseman. Levi with the first pitch to Dorsey outside, ball 1.
I hear the train whistle blowing.
Mama's telling me to warm up the engine to get home. There's a shot down the third base line. That's going to score 2 more Redan Raiders. Dorsey's going to have a stand-up double. Drew Young bobbles it in left field. Dorsey coming to third, and he's going to make it. So we got a double right there and an RBI.
2 RBIs.
2 RBIs, and the error on the left fielder allowed him to move up to third. And just like that, it is 10-2 Redan.
And they have batted around.
Catcher number 16, Tyler Layton.
Tyler Layton, who coach started this inning off with the ground ball back to the pitcher.
Wow. And now they've scored 6 runs. 6 runs. And you hear the nickname Man. He is every bit of that. He was a Gresham Park White Sox coach. That's who he was as a little leaguer.
He's a big guy, but he's done a heck of a job today behind the plate.
He was about that size when he was 8. A lot of Locust Grove alumni in attendance today.
Yes, they are. Layton takes it and hits a 1-hopper to Alex Gore at second base, and
that'll do it. Not before they bat around in plate 6.
Plate 6 have 5 hits. They lead 1, and we'll go to the top of the 5th inning. Redan 10, Locust Grove 2. All right, welcome back to Locust Grove, the top of the 5th. Leading off for Locust Grove will be the catcher, Josh Fellows. For 1 in game 2, walk into a fielder's choice.
Locust Grove's got to get something going right here. They got to put some runs on the board and get some excitement in the dugout if they plan on hanging around.
Yes, you don't have to be down 8. You ain't got to get 8 runs right here, but you got to start chipping in. Because, Coach, right now, you don't score. And Redan scored 2 and the game's over.
It's over. Yeah, in high school baseball, 10-run rule will come into effect in the 5th inning.
And Coach, for the first time this year, it's not the game's over. Your season's over. And for some of these guys, their career's over.
You're exactly right.
In reality, it'll start to hit home. Fellows takes a 2-0 pitch across for a strike. Count 2-1.
And he was taken all the way. He hated he had to take that pitch. That was a gut shot, but that's what you're supposed to do. You ain't need base runners.
Here's the 2-1 upstairs.
Hey, that light got the camera.
Yes, it did.
That one was a little high. And when man can't catch it, all 6'3" of him.
And Coach, I think I heard somebody down in the stands yell. It's been about the first time somebody down there made noise in 2 or 3 innings.
Yep. That's ball 4.
And if you're Locust Grove, that's exactly what you want. And if you're Redan, that's the worst thing that could happen. You got an 8-run lead, throw strikes.
Yep. And that's going to bring Coach Pruitt out to the mound to talk to his pitcher. And we're going to take a break right here on Wildcat TV. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to Locust Grove. Coach Pruitt is done with his visit to the mound. I just had a quick chat with Baker. He probably told him the same thing we just talked about. Look, son, you got an 8-run lead. Throw strikes. Make them put the ball in play. We play good defense behind you. Let's go ahead and see what we can do.
Tyler Sellers steps in. Throw over the first.
You can check scores throughout the baseball state playoffs at ghsa.net if you're interested, or through Georgia Varsity Scout has updates on games as well.
Pitch was outside. Counts 2-0 quickly on Tyler Sellers.
Well, I guess Coach Pruitt's talk didn't have much effect with him because he 2-0.
Baker looks in, fires.
It's going to be down low.
The dirt. That makes the count 3-0.
Coach, you may be tiring a little bit. That's 82 pitches on the night. And
little surprised with the 8-run lead that Redan hadn't got somebody tossing over there in the bullpen.
There's nobody in the bullpen. Now, I know he set him out the last 2.5 innings of last game to make sure Baker was rested. And that's going to be ball 4. Nope, that's 3-0.
We missed the pitch.
I guess we did. Coach Shook up here was right. Coach Davis and I were wrong. And if you ask Coach Shook, he's always right unless you talk to his wife.
Amen.
And she's the one that's always right.
Amen. 3-0 pitch, cross for a strike. 3-1 on Sellers.
Coach, you take another one here, you make him throw another strike?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, Tyler hits a home run, it's 10-4. You need base runners. I don't think it's a bad idea. And
we'll never know.
We'll never know. It wasn't close. And Locust Grove has 2 leadoff walks right here to start the 5th inning.
Your batter, number 22, Johnny Shoemaker.
Still no action in the Redan bullpen.
Shoemaker's 2 for 2 on the night, has a base hit and a double. Now, this may be an opportunity where he may see a first pitch fastball down the middle for a strike, and I know we're talking about taking till you see a strike, but this may be a good pitch to hit, and as hot as he is, you may have to let him swing the bat.
And Shoemaker, real quick, is 2 for 2 so far, Coach.
And he did.
He did. To give an update on the other 4A games going around on the state, Chris County and Mayors have all swept, so there could be a 4-team sweep to move on to the Final Four if things hold on here. Locust Grove trying to be the only team to move a game to a third game.
Baker didn't like what he saw from the catcher.
Baker comes set, kicks and fires. Off-speed pitch, called a strike. That'll be 0-2 quickly on Shoemaker.
Nice pitch. Kind of fooled Shoemaker.
Sort of a delayed call by the home plate umpire, and I thought the Redan folks
we're going to come over the top of the fence.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Curveball swung on, caught by the catcher Layton, and Shoemaker is down on strikes for out number 1 here in the top of the 5th.
Foul tipped it right in the catcher's glove.
Your batter, number 6, the left fielder, Drew Young.
Drew Young to the plate.
Strikeout victim 2 times tonight, and he's seen nothing but breaking balls.
Baker gets the sign, comes set. Fastball way outside.
That might be the first fastball Drew seen. Well, I think he saw one his last at bat, but it wasn't a strike either. Baker's been effective with his throwing his curveball for strikes. I wouldn't be surprised to see another one right here. Fastball, ball. Drew helps him out.
Baker comes set. 1-1 pitch to Drew. Change up. Stayed up a little bit. Count moves to 2-1 on Drew Young.
Runners at first and second. 1 out.
Coach, what's the pitch count on?
He just topped 90 right there.
Foul ball. Fouled at the plate by Drew. Makes the count 2-2.
Baker's kind of walking around, lumbering around right there. He looks like he might be a little gassed, but I still see no action in the Redan bullpen.
Coach, I think both of us are a little surprised. There's not somebody at least out down there stretching, maybe tossing the ball around just a little bit. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Drew. Curveball, Drew out in front, pops it up over behind third. Third baseman in foul territory brings it in. That'll be out 2 here in the top of the 5th.
No infield fly rule because the ball was foul. We got runners at first and second, but ball foul territory. There's no infield fly rule in effect.
That'll bring to the plate Dalton Coons, the shortstop. Dalton, much like Drew, struck out twice so far in this game.
You know, really the thing that's made the difference in these 2 baseball games are guys that have hit for Locust Grove in previous games have not hit.
Ball in the dirt to Dalton, and both of the Locust Grove base runners are able to move up and in a base. Nice job by Trey King reading the ball, moving up to third.
Trey King's running for Josh Fellows, by the way, in case we didn't mention that. Got a chance to get in, too, right here. We need a 2-out base hit.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Dalton. Fastball inside, 2-0 on Dalton.
Get a 2-out hit right here, plate 2 runs. It gets you back in the game and gives you 2 more at-bats, maybe, an opportunity to make something happen if you can hold them.
Dalton swings, fouls it off the right side. And, Coach, maybe it's just a 2-out hit will get some of these fans up off their hands.
It's hard to believe that you're in a playoff game and
third round and
no excitement whatsoever out of the Locust Grove crowd.
I believe you could be taking a test down there in the bleachers and nobody would be disturbing you.
Well, it is CT. Yeah, whatever that is.
Coach, I got to give a shout-out to the pregnant lady down there wearing the green dress.
Who might that be?
I have no idea, but out here on the hot night.
Speaking of pregnant women, I'm going to give a shout-out to Coach Halfley. Him and his wife have just found out that his wife's pregnant, so they're going to be expecting their first, and they're excited about that.
Great for him. Great for him.
Getting ready to have a life-changing experience.
That's right. And, Coach, there's only 2 things you can have, a boy or a girl. If he has him a little boy, he maybe have him a football player, but, Coach, if he has a little girl, that'll really change his life. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Dalton, who lines one to center field. Graves moves over and makes the catch, and that'll do it for Locust Grove here at the top of the 5th. They're able to get no runs, no hits. We had 2 walks, 2 runners left on base, and we'll head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Redan 10, Locust Grove 2. Welcome back to Locust Grove. Leading off for Redan. In the bottom of the 6th will be the leadoff batter, Graves, and he lays down a bunt down the third baseline, and Levi comes up and throws to first, and not much of an effort by Sellers to try to knock it down. The ball goes in the right field, and Graves had the leadoff single. Starts at the bottom of the 6th.
Coach, I think we might have a little technical difficulties earlier when I gave a shout out to my mom, that sweetest woman in the world as far as I'm concerned. Put up with my daddy all those years. I had to give it one more.
I tell you what, Coach, I got to give a shout out to my parents. This weekend's their wedding anniversary. 45 years.
Fantastic.
Nelson comes up in the first pitch, hits a ground ball to first baseman Sellers. He'll step on first and get the out. Graves will move over to third base.
Shortstop, number 17, Wesley Jones.
That brings up the shortstop, Wesley Jones.
45 years. Wow, that's outstanding. I don't think my wife put up with me 45 years.
You know, my grandparents were married for 60, and I remember when they had a wedding. They had the wedding, their
How
anniversary.
do you remember when they had the wedding?
The anniversary, the party. I can remember my grandmama telling my dad she didn't want a party. And my dad told her it wasn't for her, it was for his dad. he told my grandmama anybody can spend 60 years with you needs a party. That didn't go over too well with her.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it with my mama. She put up with my daddy all these years. I don't know how she's done it. That's going to be a base hit.
It's a line drive up the middle. That's going to knock in Graves. That's going to make the score 11-2. And, Coach, that puts the potential winning run on first base.
And it brings up 2 hottest hitters of the night.
Baker. The pitcher, number 11, Brandon Baker.
2 for 4 in the first game with a hit by pitch. So far in the game 2, he's been walked 3 times. Eli comes set, pitches, fastball, called strike.
Coach, if for some reason they plate this winning run, I just want to tell you thank you very much for your time and that you spent during these playoffs. You don't get paid a dime to do it. We don't get paid anything to do it. We're here because we're part of the program, and it couldn't have been done without you, and I can't thank you enough for helping support my program and allowing us to provide. He's out. That was a heck of a throw right there by Fellows.
Jones tries to steal second, and Fellows throws him out, and Redan trying to get to that 10-run rule here in the bottom of the fifth.
Well, then maybe it'll last a little long, but I still want to tell you thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me, and it's been fun. You know, part of the program, we coach these kids out there on the field, and we don't get to spend the time with them as we have in the past, but we still wish all the best for them and enjoy coming out here and watching them play.
Well, you got to do this. You got to spend time away from your own family, and that's hard to do, especially when it's your free time. You don't have a commitment, and I just can't thank you enough. And I want to give a shout out to my two guys that in my classroom that have put forth the effort, stayed here. They don't get paid either. They don't get anything extra for it. I may give them a little final exam break and not make them give me a project. But other than that, that's Kyle Brown and then Tyler Shook, and they've done a fantastic job.
In holding with what you've done earlier and me, let's give a shout out to our wives who let us stay at the ballpark.
Mine's probably pretty happy that I'm not home, because all I do is give her a hard time when I'm there. So, but yeah, you're right. Instead, you got to be a good coach and to be successful coach, you got to have a successful wife that's willing for you to commit the time and understand that your commitments to these kids, and they know that we love them, and they know that we care about these kids as much as we care about our own, and for them to realize that and be by our side, it takes a special kind of woman.
Baker drew another walk, fourth on the night, fourth in the game in the second game. That'll bring up the third baseman Williams. Williams 2 for 3 in game 2, 2 RBIs.
And then one more thing, I'll give Cheryl Kuhn a shout out. She's our secretary, our administrative assistant in the front office. Excuse me. Does a great job up there, and she is a big part of this baseball program here. Does a great job with getting these guys pregame meals and get things set up for them. Basically, Coach Phillips's right-hand woman. I know he couldn't do it without her, and we really appreciate everything that she's done.
Williams up at the plate, 1-1 count. Fouls went off down past third. Makes it 1-2. And Coach, you just sort of get the feeling around the ballpark as a lot of fans have left us.
Kind of like the feeling we got.
Yeah. It's all over but the last out or the last run. Coach Phillips heading down the third base side to get the foul ball.
Congratulations to him. He's had a good year. I know it's going to be tough for him to walk away from this, and he's had a very successful season. He's got some really good seniors that I know he's going to miss, but they're out of the inning, so they're going to get an opportunity to bat.
Williams strikes out to end the bottom of the fifth. That means we'll go to the sixth. Redan tags on one more run, but we head to the sixth. Redan 11, Locust Grove 2. I have no idea who he is. Never seen him before. Dog, you look like a player walking out the ball. Welcome back to Locust Grove as we start the top of the 6th inning off. Tyler Duncan leading off. First pitch strike.
Got a pitching change.
Number 12 is in. Darren Olsby for Redan.
Didn't he pitched the final 2 innings of game 1. We talked about him earlier. Big kid, throws a lot of strikes, going to be around the plate.
Duncan 0 for 1 in game 2. Strikeout and a base on ball. He fouls that one straight back off the umpire's shoulder. And once again, we'll give this umpire crew from the Marietta Umpire Association the shout out. They've done a great job.
Guy behind the plate's been one of the best plate guys we've had all year.
You know, there hadn't been a lot of close plays for say out in the field, but they've been on top of everything. They've been in position.
Baker finishes the night with 90. He threw 96 pitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strikeouts to add to his 52 on the years. That's going to give him 59 in 40 innings. So, yeah, he's been effective all year.
Effective. Here's the 0-2 to Tyler, who fouls it off at the plate. And, Coach, the last 2 series in Game 2, the Wildcats have seen some really good pitchers, and you can tell because they've struggled.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. They don't see, the region this year was kind of weak. Spalding was kind of down. Griffin had one dominant pitcher, but other than that, they really didn't see dominant pitching in the region. And I think,
we talked about earlier that non-region schedule.
They're going to have to make some adjustments based upon the new region classifications and how it's changed. Duncan
hits one down the third baseline, and third baseman makes a great play to stop the ball. Ball gets past first. Duncan's not able to move up to second, but
I will tell you this: you see the hustle out of the catcher down there.
The catcher there to back up the throw, and Coach 11-2, and you got a guy that's hustling like that. That's the sign of a good, well-coached, disciplined baseball team.
Yep.
And, Coach, we're going to give Tyler Duncan an infield single right there. It had been a tough play at the first baseman that came up with it, but that may be Tyler Duncan's last ever high school at bat. Brings up Josh Patton, who slices one down the first baseline.
Fair
ball.
Duncan's maybe running into it. Don't need to run into an out right here. Ball gets away. Wow, thank goodness. I think it hit Duncan, but that's the last thing we needed was a ball running to an out right there at third base.
Good job by Patton. That's his 3rd hit tonight. And Coach, it's not necessarily over, but if that's the last at bat for Josh Patton in his high school career, he had a good night to remember. 3 for 3.
He sure did. I think we've had a catching change for Redan. It looks like number 13.
D'Anthony Baker.
Yep, D'Anthony Baker's moved in behind the plate to replace Layton.
Number 5, second baseman.
I knew there was a size difference, but definitely want to give a hustle effort to that kid. D'Angelo got down the line on that ground ball from Duncan.
Gore comes up to the plate. Gore 0 for 2 on the day. A little tardy on a fastball.
Might have thought Coach Phillips might have went to the bench right there for a pinch hitter, but because Gord can re-enter, and you got left-handed hitter Jordan Hartman, who was a hot hitter all year long, hadn't been to the plate all night.
He played the first game. He struggled against the lefty.
Okay.
But Redan's gone to a right-handed pitcher now too, so you're right. But quickly Gore's behind in the count 0-2. And Olsby comes with the 0-2 curveball, which I'm a little surprised. He just threw 2 fastballs by him.
Gord had his last at-bat hit a line drive to third base after he failed to sacrifice the guys over and it ended up turning into a double play. He hit the ball hard.
And, Coach, you remember after that play, that was a 4-2 game. And after that play, Redan come in and scored 6 runs. Here's a ball that gets by the catcher. That's a wild pitch, and Duncan scurries home. That's going to make the score 11-3.
There's a situation where you make a catching change. The guy behind the plate, Layton, who's been there all night long, has been a wall back there. And that pitch wasn't wild. It was a little low, and it just got up underneath him through the 5-hole and allowed a run to score and allowed Patton to move up to second and got the count back even to Gore with 2-2.
And Coach, we talked about this most of the night for Redan. You got a big lead, throw strikes.
Yep. And he did right there.
And that'll do it for Gore, who strikes out looking. That'll be the first out here in the top of the 6th, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Cortez McDowell. Cortez 2 for 3 in game 2, 2 singles and a ground ball to second baseman.
Yeah, grounded into a fielder's choice at his last at bat.
Cortez a little late on the fastball.
Still not out of it. I mean, you could plate some runs right here, chip away, and still find your way back in. You've gotten the starting pitcher out of the game.
And Coach, it's difficult for a guy to come in 2 games in a row. You get 3 or 4 runs here and get back in this game, and this guy's on the ropes, and Redan may have to go deeper in their bullpen than they want. One thing we're not real sure on is how deep of a bullpen they have. Counts even on Cortez, 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a 1-1. Down low, Cortez so ahead, count 2-1.
Olsby not throwing the ball near as hard as he threw it in game 1.
Cortez fouls one off the right side. That's the count 2-2.
Woke the coach up from Ohio State over there watching him. Some action going on down there in the Wildcat pen. Maybe Tyler Duncan. That's who it looks like. Looks like Duncan down in the pen.
Olsby comes set, 2-2 to the plate. Ball's high. Makes the count full on Cortez McDowell.
Get on base any way you can right here.
That's right.
You tell Kyle Brown don't pay for his phone. I think he's dropped it 14 times.
There's the ball. Down a little low. Cortez will take the walk.
Locust Grove's got a little something going here in the top of the 6th. And bring you up to the plate, number 7, Josh Fellows. He's 1 for 1 on the night, got 2 walks and a run scored.
Olsby comes set. First and second for Locust Grove, 1 out. Here's the pitch, and it's way upstairs, and he's falling behind Fellows. And
just what we talked about. He's kind of laboring. You said it was going to be difficult to come back 2 games in a row, and it is. I mean, he sat in the dugout for a little while.
And it's not cold, Coach, but you go from it being hot when we started game 1 and he pitched to now. It's just that little chill in the air, and it's tough.
Guys aren't used to coming back playing doubleheaders. They don't play any of these during the regular season.
We say that he fires 2 quick strikes at Josh Fellows and gets ahead in the count 1-2. And I wouldn't be surprised if Fellows reaches to see a visit from Redan or once again maybe get something stirring up. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball way upstairs.
After watching Redan tonight, you can see why they were 24-6 coming in on the night. I think they lost 3 games early. Boom, 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 right out of the chute.
Of the season, yep.
And I think they reeled off 16 straight.
The only team that's had their number has been Marist, and they lost 3 out of 4 to Marist, which a lot of teams will lose 3 out of 4 to Marist. But one of them was a 2-1 9-inning ball game, so they're well deserved of their record, and well deserved to be here in this.
And their placement. That's right.
It's 3-2 on Fellows. And here's the payoff pitch.
That's upstairs.
Upstairs, and he checks the swing, and that's going to load the bases for Locust Grove. It'll bring Tyler Sellers to the plate, and
finally a little life over here.
Number 3, the first baseman, Tyler Sellers.
And it's going to bring Coach Pruitt to the mound for a visit. And we'll take a short, quick break right here on Wildcat TV.
You give up a grand slam if you're Redan, they still need another grand slam.
Coach Pruitt's visit is over. I think he probably went to Olsby and said, look, kid, those strikes now. Quit giving them free passes. Make them put the ball in play.
Tyler Sellers up at the plate. Takes a first pitch strike.
And that's what he does. Pumps a strike right to him.
Sellers 0 for 2 in game 2. 2 strikeouts with the base on the ball. A chance to give Locust Grove some life right here with the base hit. Here's the 0-1. Fastball across the outside corner, and quickly after the visit to the mound, it's 0-2.
Not real sure what he was looking for right there. Man, a base hit right here can get him right back in it. Base hit will plate 2, then you're only down 6. And he pumps
a fastball and
looked at 3 straight strikes.
3 straight fastballs, and Tyler Sellers will have a seat, and that'll be out number 2 here in the top of the 6th. Excuse me. And that'll bring to the plate John Shoemaker.
Number 22, Johnny Shoemaker.
Shoemaker 1 for 3 in game 2.
No, he should be 2 for 3. He had a base hit, and a double, and struck out his last at bat.
That's what I meant. 2 for 3. Single, a double, a strikeout. Shoemaker swings at the first pitch, fouls it back over the right side.
Olsby's kind of labored in this inning, thrown 28 pitches so far. Need a big hit by the Wildcats, extend the inning, and keep him out there on that hill.
Shoemaker drives one into center field.
Graves is going to track it down.
Shoemaker gave it a ride, just not quite far enough, and that'll do it for the Wildcats here in the top of the 6th. They plate 1, but they leave them loaded. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, Redan 11, Locust Grove 3. All right, welcome back to Locust Grove as we start the bottom of the sixth. Leading off for Redan will be the left fielder, Gale. Pitching now for the Wildcats will be number 10, Tyler Duncan. 11-3. Redan can end it with 2 runs here. Or else Locust Grove will come back in the top of the 7th to extend the season. Duncan quickly falls behind in the count 2-0. And there's a strike. Makes the count 2-1 on the Redan left fielder, Gale. Gale 1 for 2 this game with a strikeout and a base on ball. Gale 1 for 3 in game 1. Swings and counts back 2-2. Two curveball right across the plate. Duncan gets the first guy strike out. That'll bring to the plate number 8, the designated hitter, 4.
Now batting number 8, the designated hitter, Miles 4.
Coach. Changing that, we've got a pitch hitter, number 12, Olsby, up to the plate. Olsby pitch hitting for 4. Takes a first pitch strike.
Duncan came in pumping strikes.
Pumping strikes. Curveball stayed upstairs, evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Coach, just quick observation looking at Duncan. He pitches from the same side of the mound as Drew Young does, but one thing you notice is how much more balance. And as I say that, he falls off the first base side.
Really try to that curveball right there, but you're right. Normally he does stay more balanced in line. And
Quickly gets to 1 and 2. And now pitch gets away and hits in the back of the leg. And he'll go down to first.
that's one thing I'm gonna miss. That Duncan kid, I tell you what, he's been a part of my news program and
Now batting
overall
number
great
6,
kid.
the right fielder, Cordes.
A lot of great
Dorsey.
things are going to happen for that young man. He's going to be very hard worker. Do anything you ask for him to do. Just about as good an athlete as you can ask for as far as work ethic. Never once does he take a play off in practice, even on the football field, and he's just an all-around great kid. Got great parents. Locust Grove's going to miss that kid.
And you brought that up, great parents, Coach. His parents are everything. You're proud to the right.
I really think he has an opportunity to walk on down there. There's no reason for him not. From a pitching standpoint, I think he can.
Live arm, get down there with the pitching coach and
work
with.
He's come a long way. Now he's come a long way as far as his mechanics and really knowledge of the game. When he got here, you know.
Coach, we're working on going on. Yeah.
It's dwindled. We had in game 1, and it's about a quarter of the way full right now. And Coach Shook is sleepy. and his wife has dinner on the table.
His wife went to bed 2 hours ago.
So did mine.
I'm gonna let her watch this. And y'all got a great one.
Coach Shook's wife is a great lady. There's no doubt. But we also know who runs the house.
We do. And Coach will know real quick when he gets home. If the porch light's on, he's good. If not, he's in trouble. And there's the 3-1 pitch, gets to the backstop on the walk.
About 4 years ago, I did know that she made him sleep in the yard one time. I'm not sure if she made him sleep there or if he just chose to. I chose to.
That'll bring up to the plate number 13, DeAnthony Baker.
Your batter, number 13, DeAnthony Baker.
He came in for Leighton to catch the last inning. Coach, I walked downstairs just a second ago and walked by Leighton. Wow, that is a man for sure. He's a big kid.
Tyler deals the first pitch strike on the outside corner. And Coach Redan has 2 guys on, and we got to mention if both of them scored, this game is over. Tyler shouting out bunt instructions. I don't think Redan's bunting right here. Tyler Wills looks back at second. Come set. Here's the pitch. Fastball fouled straight back by Baker.
Baker had a good cut on that fastball. One out, bottom 6.
Coach, we'll give a shout out to this Redan crowd. Group of kids, nice group of fans. Brought a good crowd here. But as Baker looks at strike 3, and that'll be out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th. You know, it's not a short ride from Redan, and getting here for a 4:30 game is not an easy thing to do.
Traffic, I can promise you. We all know that.
That'll bring up
Your batter,
Graves.
number 1, the center fielder, Joey Graves.
Graves 3 for 4 in game 2.
I know it's going to hurt these kids, to know their season's come to an end. And kids that play football, it's really going to hurt them knowing they got to go put on football gear tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Satterfield don't even give them a day off.
Yeah. Graves takes the first pitch strike. Graves 3 for 8 on the day. Duncan holds the ball. Graves steps out, calls time.
I will say this, though, for the middle of May, the weather out there is nice for spring football.
Oh! And Duncan hits Graves in the top of the head. That's going to load the bases up. Graves seems like he's okay and is going to trot down to first.
Once again, those helmets tend to deflect some of the energy because if he didn't have it on, if it's been back in the old days, he'd be laying there for a while.
And Coach, that's a scary thing because Duncan throws it pretty hard. Thank goodness he's all right.
The second
Like we
base,
said earlier,
number
he ain't
9,
throwing it nobody.
James
He's trying to
Nelson.
get outs right here. He knows if 2 runs scored, the game's over.
And what that did was put 2 runners in scoring position for Nelson, the second baseman. Nelson 1 for 4 in game 2. Nelson was 1 for 5 in game 1, 2 for 9 on the night. Nelson swings through a fastball.
That one had a little giddy up to it.
And this has been Duncan all year. Duncan will give up some base runners, and next thing you know, he's firing some fastballs by folks. Just another night at the park for Duncan. Duncan throws the 0-1 pitch, curveball, foul back by Nelson. Quickly the count's 0-2.
Very seldom you see your pitcher, one of the dirtiest players.
Yeah, you're right.
He's filthy. I don't think you're going to be able to shout it out on those pants.
No, sir.
They'll be maybe practice pants next year. Maybe JD game pants, Coach.
Here's the 0-2 to Nelson. Duncan steps off. Here's the 0-2 to Nelson. Fastball, Nelson fouls it off over the first base side.
Good job fighting that pitch off. That was inside, right where Fellows was asking for it.
Nice 0-2 pitch.
You can't afford to waste anything right
No.
here. You got the bases loaded. Don't want to even give it an opportunity. You got to come right at him.
And
No,
go right at him.
pitch.
And there's the 0-2 pitch. Must have been downstairs. Makes the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Coach is getting to the point where these umpires behind the plate doing too good of a job.
Yeah, you got to widen that strike zone a little bit and let's go home.
1-2 pitch is a curveball. Fisted over first base.
No man's land.
No man's land. It's going to drop, and Redan's going to score 2 runs. And that is going to do it.
It's going to end the game.
That's going to end the game right there with Redan scoring 2. That's going to make the final score, game 2, 13-3. And congratulations to Redan, who's going to move on to the Final Four. And Coach just watching and seeing how they react. Coach, they expect to be there.
Yeah, there's no excitement, no jumping around. They felt like they were going to be there.
State Final Four.
Coach, once again, I want to thank you for everything you've done. We've had a great season. And
On behalf of head coach Stephen Phillips,
good luck next year in
Principal
softball.
we'd also
It's
like
been a
to
great
thank
year for Locust Grove.
for all their support.
Yeah, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with next year. They got a lot of people coming back. So, there's nothing for them to hang their heads about. They've had a good season, and they've went a little further in the playoffs than they've ever have. So Coach Phillips has got to be proud of this team. I know some kids are going to be dejected and upset, but when all the hurt goes away from this game, they're going to look back and say, hey, we had a pretty good year.
Yes, they will. Congratulations, Coach Phillips and the team, and you're right. The hurt will be there for a few days, but they'll be able to look back and say, this has been a great year and something they can remember for the rest of their time.
Well, that's going to do it from Locust Grove High School, where the Redan Raiders advance to the Final Four of the Quad A State Baseball Playoffs. Chris Davis, I'm for watching Wildcat Baseball on Wildcat TV.